Hey guys, tonight we journey through the sands of history to the rolling plains of Central Asia, where the stars once watched over the vast movements of peoples and empires. Imagine for a moment the cool night breeze brushing against your skin as you track the profound footsteps of the Oghuz Turks. You can almost see them as silhouettes on the horizon, newly converted to the ways of Sunni Islam, their banners fluttering gently in the wind. Their journey brings them into Khorasan, under the command of the impressive Tughril Beg, marking the dawn of Turkic political dominance over the rich lands of Persia. This chapter of history is as thrilling as it is unpredictable, so much so that you probably won't survive this coming twist without a gasp or two. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, why not comment with your location and local time once you're settled? Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Picture this, the first rays of dawn breaking over the rugged frontiers of Khorasan. You find yourself amidst a caravan of Turkic warriors, their faces set with determination, as they advance into a realm rich with history and wealth. Led by the capable Tughril Beg, their purpose is clear to establish dominance in these storied lands. Khorasan, known for its bustling cities and prosperous trade routes, is nothing short of alluring for any rising power. As the caravan moves forward, consider the startling reality that these warriors, having embraced Sunni Islam, carried with them not just swords and arrows, but a new cultural identity. Their beliefs, aspirations, and actions were now intertwined with their faith, a glue that bound communities and directed their ambitions to new horizons. Interestingly, historians still debate whether this conversion was purely spiritual or primarily a strategic move to ally with the influential Islamic caliphates, an alliance which would have been invaluable as they sought to extend their influence. Regardless of the reason, the infusion of their Turkic vigor into Persian lands laid the groundwork for a remarkable socio-political transformation. Tughril Beg, though a fierce leader, exhibited a wisdom beyond his years. You notice the camaraderie amongst his forces, a shared understanding that under his leadership they could reach unprecedented heights. The quiet strength in Tughril's eyes suggests he knows the task ahead is anything but easy. Yet the potential rewards are too great to ignore. The rich tapestries of Persian culture await them, a tapestry in which they aim to weave their own vibrant threads. And yet, as they march, you sense a slight unease. The sheer weight of the task establishing Turkic rule in a land already laden with empires and dynasties hangs in the air. The balance of power is delicate, much like spinning logs floating on a turbulent river. One wrong step and everything could upend in chaos. However, the path is not without its peculiarities. Amidst the march, you catch snippets of whispers about Tughril Beg's early confrontations. You hear tales passed from ear to ear about a curious incident involving chicken bones. It seems, once during a siege, a message smuggled within a chicken bone led to the successful coordination of a critical operation. It's the kind of story that would raise brows, revive weary spirits, and become a legend among the ranks proof that sometimes victory is won through wit as well as might. As you listen to these tales, interwoven with the clinking of metal and the murmur of voices, it's clear that this is only the beginning. The Turks' journey is one of ambition and adaptation, a dance on the stage of history where one misstep could lead to a fall, but the right move could change the tapestry forever. The story unfolds like a silk carpet, intricate and inviting promising twists and turns that you will uncover at each step, just as you imagine the caravan pressing onward, ever devoted to their extraordinary path. As you find yourself drifting through the corridors of history, you suddenly feel the gentle rustle of shifts in power and the subtle dance of armies across the sands of time. The scene unfolds near the ancient city of Merv, where two mighty forces clashed, eager to carve their names into the chronicles of the earth. Just as you lace up your invisible boots to take a stroll into this story, remember you are an active participant in this fascinating tale, not merely a bystander. It's a world where the Seljuks, fierce and determined, stand resolutely against the formidable Ghaznavids. In the heat of the moment, you view the battlefield through the eyes of a Seljuk soldier. The air is thick with tension, and the horizon is dyed with the first light of dawn, promising another day of strife and struggle. You breathe deeply, smelling the arid desert dust mixed with the faintest hint of something metallic, the scent of history being forged. The Seljuks, under the leadership of their headstrong chief, plot their strategies with precision. Their cavalry is swift, and their tactics astute, reminiscent of the shifting sands themselves. On the other side, the Ghaznavids hold their ground with the confidence of seasoned rulers, their armor glinting in the sun like knights of some ancient forgotten court. You can almost hear their captains barking orders, their voices carried by the dry wind, like the distant echoes of forgotten legends. Historians often debate whether the true key to the Seljuks' victory was their innovative tactics, or perhaps a more psychological strategy, like instilling a sense of inevitability among the Ghaznavid ranks. Some argue it was a mixture of both, a cocktail of clever maneuvering and morale wear, slowly tilting the scales in favor of the ambitious Seljuks. You witness the pivotal moment when the Seljuk cavalry with strategic brilliance circles around the Ghaznavid flanks. It's a move as graceful as it is lethal, and you feel a thrill run through you, imagining the pride in the Seljuk commanders' hearts as their plan unfurls flawlessly. The battle is as much a chess match as it is physical, each side seeking dominance in this high-stakes game. A surprising detail from this historical tapestry is the role of carrier pigeons. Yes, pigeons used by both sides, fluttering messages among commanders like quaint little telegrams. Whether their tiny contributions tip the scales is something often lost to time. But the image of these avian messengers swooping over the battlefield adds a peculiar texture to the scene unfolding around you. Amidst the clash and clamor, something beautiful emerges. The Seljuks' victory at Merv is not just a win. It's the beginning of a new era. This conquest solidifies their influence in eastern Persia, setting the stage for an empire that would stretch its wings far beyond the immediate horizons of Merv. As you walk through the aftermath, the sun setting on spent soldiers and victorious generals, you feel the weight of history, thick in the cooling air, tangible and inevitable. Yet humanity has always found comfort in the certainties of nightfall, a reminder that even the fiercest contests conclude, and peace, however temporary, will descend. The Seljuks, with dreams of prosperity on the horizon, begin to gather, reflect and plan much like you, perhaps pondering what comes next as the sands continue to shift under the moon's gentle guard. Tughril entered Baghdad with a measured stride, a tangible hush enveloping the city as the news of his arrival spread like ripples in a calm pond. You are there amidst the muted excitement, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, the hum of anticipation in the air as the city braced for change. The people watched from doorsteps and windows, a tapestry of humanity weaving together in curiosity and reverence for this Seljuk ruler who now stood on the precipice of power. In the heart of Baghdad, the Abbasid Caliph waited with the infinite patience of a man accustomed to the theater of power. His hall, an impressive confluence of marble and whispers of old, was set for this historical meeting. This single moment held the weight of immense change, symbolic in the way a baton passes hands while the race stays eternal. As you observe from your place among the crowd, Tughril's presence is both commanding and gentle, his eyes surveying the grandeur around him without a hint of fear. Yet beneath this calm exterior lies the truth that you, like everyone else, feel the delicate balance between politics and faith now rests on the point of a needle. You probably won't survive this intrigue unscathed one way or another. Historians still debate whether Tughril's warm welcome into Baghdad was entirely sincere or shrouded with silent objections from those wary of the Seljuk rise to power. What is clear, however, is that his relationship with the Caliph promised to respect the religious authority that had long been the beacon for the Islamic world. It was a clever balance of reverence and reformation, a chessboard where Tughril played his pieces with strategic finesse. Amidst the layers of robes and ceremonial garb, one unusual detail catches your eye. Tughril wore a simple ring, its design understated yet curious, hinting at tales long forgotten and alliances forged in the shadows of history. The audience with the Caliph, you imagine, begins with quiet formalities. There is an exchange of pleasantries, an almost choreographed dance of power and recognition, where words are chosen like polished gems, reflecting the grandeur and depth of this new alignment. Underneath the surface, emotions whirl a gentle storm behind thoughtful eyes. The Caliph smiles, a gesture that warms the room, acknowledging Tughril not as a conqueror, but as a partner, a symbol of the ever-evolving narrative where the spiritual heart of the Abbasid realm would continue to thrive under a Seljuk shadow. This was the delicate art of legacy, where the pages of history would portray both continuity and change without upsetting the spiritual apple cart. As dusk settles over Baghdad, the city's landscape unfolds before you, an intricate quilt of courtyard gardens and winding streets. With the stars beginning to twinkle in the darkening sky, you sense the subtle undertone of relief within the city's soul. The Seljuks and the Abbasids together craft a foundation that suggests the promise of prosperity, a future where the lamp of faith shines brightly unperturbed by the winds of political change. You pause to linger on the details, the hum of the marketplace, the jubilant cries of children allowing the city to breathe anew. Meanwhile, the shared history of two powerful entities softens into a lullaby of acceptance, where each note supports the other, just as people all across the empire quietly lay their heads down at night, reassured in this unprecedented unity. This seamless fusion, captured in the memory of a simple golden ring occupying Tughril's finger, speaks of ancient stories long before politics drew its lines. It beckons you to dream of continuity and peace, flourishing like night-blooming jasmine under a tranquil moon, encapsulating the evening's events. As a soothing melody permeates your thoughts, encouraging you to tuck away today's story into the serene chapters of sleep. The empire sprawled majestically from the rugged terrains of Central Asia all the way to the sun-soaked shores of the Levant. Picture yourself standing in the heart of this vast land, under a sky smeared with stars like tiny pinpricks through a dark cloth. Around you, the air is filled with the aroma of exotic spices, carried by trotters who speak in myriad tongues, but conduct their diplomacy trade and records in a single, united language, Persian. This is a testament to the far-reaching influence of Persian bureaucrats, who keep the empire's intricate machine well-oiled and running smoothly. You might be surprised to know that in this ancient land where camel caravans move steadily across shifting sands, a sophisticated system of administration that rivals even the most modern structures is at play. It's a place where bee-like efficiency is displayed in the hierarchical offices of the state's governors, satraps, and scribes. It almost makes you wish you had a ledger to keep your own life in order, doesn't it? Situated at the crossroad of civilizations, the empire is a colossal tapestry woven from the threads of different cultures, dialects, and beliefs. It's a place where grand palaces rise like whispers of myth, and yet they maintain law and order with precise bureaucracy. As you wander through bustling markets, it dawns on you that the Persian language is not just a means of communication, but a unifying force, harmonizing a cacophony of cultures into a symphony of governance. Now one could easily envision the central court, a magnificent display of opulence with its marble floors that probably glisten under the gleam of countless oil lamps. Persian officials glide by their robes, rustling like gentle whispers of nobility, clutching scrolls and tablets, their minds carrying the weight of the emperor's commands. Historians still debate whether certain grandiose measures were ever truly possible, like the legendary Royal Road that supposedly spanned miles upon miles, offering swift passage for royal messengers, when in reality, it probably involved more waiting on a donkey than dashing on horseback. But much like the soft sheen on the mysterious stone walls, the Persian influence extends even deeper, touching the very fibers of trade, art, and culture. Persians, have an almost magical knack for absorbing the culture of their surroundings while spreading their own, a subtle blend that might inspire you to imagine it as a historical predecessor to fusion cuisine. Take a bite from one end of the empire and you taste the spices of Central Asia. From the other, the tang of Mediterranean olives. Just when you think you've wrapped your arms around its vastness, you stumble across some hidden fragment of the story that puzzles and intrigues you further. Did you know, for instance, that the ancient Persians were so ahead of their time that they had standardized currency crafted meticulously in silver and gold coins, stamped with royal insignia that promise trust and uniformity? Certainly a collector's dream today. If only you had a time-traveling pouch to snag a few. Your thoughts meander like streams over fertile valleys as you speculate about these far-reaching influences becoming entwined with the rhythms of this ageless land. The empire, resilient and strong, allows you to imagine what it might feel like to wield such power and control, where even the wind whispers in Persian. And as you find yourself deliciously lost in these musings, you can almost hear the gentle rustle of history beckoning you deeper into its ever-fascinating embrace. So here on this timeless journey, you begin to appreciate that while the world around you swirls with change, there's a serene constancy within this Persian Empire, a hub of human ingenuity and spirit that not only defines its age, but reaches far beyond it. It's where past meets present in a gentle union, wrapping you in warmth, just as you feel a blanket might on a cool desert night. Under the pale glow of the moon, you stand on the edge of a sprawling plain filled with soft whispers of the wind, carrying secrets of the past. In this dreamscape, the horizon stretches vast and wide, a tapestry woven with tales of ancient battles and shifting destinies. Tonight you find yourself deep in history, where the grass still trembles at the ghostly echo of galloping horsemen, led by a man destined to change the fate of a nation. Across the plain, the spirit of a fierce warrior statesman, Arslan, emerges like a shadow against the canvas of the night. You see his figure astride a restless steed, eyes scanning the land that would soon open its arms to Turkic settlers. This was not just a warrior, but a visionary whose skills and charisma turned the tides at the Battle of Manzikert. The year is 1071, a time when empires clashed and cultures intertwined as unpredictable as the dust-laden wind brushing against your face. As the mist swirls, enveloping you in this time-traveling reverie, you hear the muted thuds of arrows hitting shields and the guttural cries of battle sounds that textured those fateful moments at Manzikert. The Byzantine Empire under the command of Emperor Romanos IV. Diogenes stood as an imposing force. Yet as the sun dipped below the horizon, so too did the fortunes of the Byzantines fade like the last note of a forgotten song. Here in this charged chapter of history, Arslan's forces, driven by a mix of discipline and daring tactics, were poised at the edge of victory. One historical fact rises clearly from the shadows: Arslan's unexpected capture of Emperor Romanos IV. Among the many tales, this one stands out, not merely for its audacity, but for its consequences, setting in motion a series of events that would ripple through time. There's something almost enchanting about how history, sometimes hinges on single moments. You might find it surprising that when the Byzantine emperor was brought before Alp Arslan, the Sultan treated him with courtesy rather than cruelty. Over a traditional banquet exchange, unlikely in the smoke of war's aftermath, Alp Arslan, in an unexpected sigh of friendship, offered Romanos freedom for ransom. Historians still debate whether this act was driven by strategic generosity or a profound respect for the fallen emperor's courage. As night drapes over the field, the stars seem to twinkle with the historic destiny that unfolded here. That decisive victory paved the way for Turkic tribes to settle in Anatolia, a region that would see a cultural and demographic transformation. Borders blur as you imagine the Turkic people making their way into these lands, bringing with them new languages, new traditions, and an invigorating spirit that would help shape the future of the region. In this quiet tableau, you sense the pulse of life, as tents are pitched on the once bloodied fields, and campfires cast a warm glow on faces rugged from the rigors of travel and conflict. The land, freshly tilled, offers new beginnings, fields buzzing with promise. As voices mingle in songs of hope and tales of distant homelands, the calm night air carries a lullaby of change, just as soothing as the soft rustling of leaves, reminding you of the interconnectedness of past and present. The movement of the Turkic peoples into Anatolia signifies not just conquest, but an evolutionary shift, creating a new chapter in this ancient book of human history. As you linger at the edge of this historical tapestry, the echoes of Alp Arslan's triumph are like a gentle reminder of how paths intertwine, shaping futures as yet unwritten. Each moment serves as a stepping stone across the river of time, its current guiding the fate of empires and the souls that inhabit them. The dreamy landscape before you softens like a watercolor painting in the rain. The memories of Manzikert and the gentle unfolding of history settle into your heart like the quiet of snowfall blanketing the world in peace. It's as if the universe is whispering you to rest, carrying you on the wings of dreams, where past and present coalesce in the harmony of a story well told. As sunlight dances gently through the curtains, you find yourself wandering the ancient stone corridors of a grand Seljuk palace, each step echoing the whispers of history. The air is rich with the aroma of incense, mingling with the lively sounds of birds chirping in the gardens just beyond. You're drawn deeper into this world where wisdom and power intermingle beneath lofty arcs and vaulted ceilings. In this serene labyrinth, you feel the presence of a towering figure, Nizam al-Mulk. This formidable vizier rises before you not in physical form, but as a commanding spirit of the age, a sage whose pen was mightier than the sword. As you glide through time, you're reminded how he reshaped the bedrock of Seljuk administration, smoothing it to a fine polish, well envied by many. He whispers to you of bureaucracy transformed, of reshuffled offices and governors who once chased the whims of chaos, now guided under his steady hand. Were he alive today, you might think he'd swagger before CEOs, offering a quirked smile that says, "You'd fall apart without me." Historians still debate whether it was his charm or his cunning that secured his influence. A surprise awaits you in the clamor of ancient markets, where Nizam's presence laid down new roots of orthodoxy through education. Picture the bustling halls of the Nizamiya schools he founded. In these sanctuaries of knowledge, echoes of passionate debates fill the air as students lean over texts, scrutinizing the secrets of philosophy, astronomy, and law. You wander among them, noticing a scholar deeply engrossed in a heated disputation. He addresses contradictions within a treatise, his arguments nimble as he balances on the knife edge of knowledge. It's said these places nurtured the minds of men who would later stride across history like colossi, their footfall resounding far into lands untamed by Seljuk rule. In these hallowed yards, Nizam al-Mulk seeded Sunni orthodoxy, perhaps precisely, perhaps even slyly consolidating Seljuk power in a manner most shrewd. It was as if he wove a delicate tapestry, one thread at a time, the grip on his people firm, yet almost unnoticeable. Not everyone shared his vision, of course, and some of his reforms were met with resistance that trickled furtively through the grapevine. Yet here within the walls, dressed in warm hues and studded with calligraphy, you sense the calm assurance of his legacy. Notice a student, hunched over a weathered parchment, scrutinizing a lesson passed down from far-off lands. An enduring bridge, Nizam al-Mulk, helped to build binding varied cultures into a cohesive tapestry under the Seljuk banner. Despite the whisperings of critics, the Nizamiya schools stood as a testament to a singular vision, their influence rippling outwards like soft droplets in a vast pond. They cultivated loyalty, hastening the heartbeat of a dynasty, stretching long and far. Suddenly, as your vibrant daydream momentarily dims, you wonder about the enigmatic tension between tradition and progress. Each side pulls at the other, a dance as old as time, leaving you to ponder whether this delicate balance was truly foreseen by Nizam al-Mulk. Yet whatever the design, it is undeniable that his era moved with a quiet mastery. Its weight felt still in the cobbles underfoot and in the voices of these wise scholars. Enveloped in the comfort of a history that unfolds like a tapestry of night stars, you move softly through these echoes of the past. It seems a slow, gentle reminder that the footsteps of those who came before you are never far away, offering you stories until the soft light of morning begins to rise. The sun is setting over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink as you find yourself amidst a bustling cityscape. The streets are alive with the sounds of people going about their evening routines. You notice the dusty cobblestone paths lined with shops selling fragrant spices and vibrant textiles, the air filled with the chatter of merchants and townsfolk. Your journey tonight takes you back to a remarkable period in history where the Seljuk Empire, one of the most influential Islamic empires, is on the rise. As you walk through the vibrant cityscape, you can't help but notice a towering structure ahead. A grand madrasa stands before you, its intricate geometric patterns and arches echoing the sophistication of the Seljuk architectural style. This isn't just any building, it's an educational institution designed to teach Sunni Islam and produce scholars. You step inside and find the air is cool and quiet in stark contrast to the lively streets outside. A group of students are engaged in a spirited discussion over ancient texts, their tutor guiding them through theological debates and the mysteries of science and philosophy. The Seljuks were visionaries in establishing such madrasas, creating a structured educational system that would extend their influence far beyond their empire's borders. It's intriguing to think about how these institutions shaped not only religious thought, but also social and cultural identities. Yet historians still debate whether these changes were purely religious or deeply political at heart. Your stroll continues along the city where minarets of beautiful mosques punctuate the skyline. These mosques serve as more than places of worship. They're community centers where the townsfolk gather for prayer celebrations and to offer charity. You are drawn to the congregation of townspeople who share laughter and stories in the courtyard, a testament to the Seljuks' commitment to creating communal spaces that foster social bonds. Interestingly, the Seljuks were known for their charitable institutions too, establishing waqfs endowments for religious and educational purposes, as well as to assist the needy. As you pass a bustling bakery, you hear a kind baker fondly recalling how such a waqf funded the bread distributed among the less fortunate during the festival of Eid. You can imagine the soft embrace of freshly baked bread in their hands, warm and comforting, just like the thread that runs through the heart of the community. You pause for a moment, taking in the peaceful ambiance, wondering how many hands have woven these rich tapestries of history. Though it may seem these cities are lost to the annals of time, their echoes remain in the stories shared, the languages spoken, and the perseverance of traditions that continue to thrive. Each step you take feels heavier now, not with fatigue, but with the weight of understanding and appreciation. How grandiose this endeavor must have been to transform landscapes and beliefs with such vision, all while traversing the delicate balance between tradition and innovation. It's a humbling thought contemplating the Seljuks' influence on what the Islamic world is today. You wander past another bustling market, getting lost in the delightful aromas drifting from food stalls. You're struck by a surprising detail historians mention with a smile that Seljuk cooks supposedly used extraordinary amounts of saffron in their dishes, turning every meal into a feast worthy of royalty. Whether this was a culinary exaggeration or truth, it's a whimsical note in a rich tapestry that paints a vibrant picture of the era. In the gentle embrace of twilight, the city around you begins to quieten. As the final streaks of light linger, you imagine the steadfast call of the muezzin echoing through the evening air, just like it has for centuries. These small intrinsic details, seemingly mundane, weave the fabric of stories that transition from one generation to the next. As shadows deepen and stars begin to twinkle in their celestial dance, there's an undeniable sense of peace settling over the cityscape. It almost feels like a softly spoken lullaby sung by those ancient stones that whisper tales of the past. With each step, the distance between you and this remarkable era narrows the folds of history, gently swaddling you, as they did countless others before. Let these comforting tales cradle you into slumber, a peaceful pause before the journey unfurls again with the promise of dawn. The sun is set, draping a gentle twilight cloak over the vast lands where you find yourself wandering. The air is cool, hinting at the promise of rest, but urging you forward first toward the inviting silhouettes of ancient structures in the distance. Imagine stepping into a realm where the scent of spices mingles with the whispers of age-old tales. Here in a world that dances between reality and a dream, architecture springs forth like poetry carved in stone. As you stroll along a weathered path, each step softly echoes with the years a path well trodden by countless travelers before you. The journey seems familiar, like a bedtime story you've been told, though the tale is ever shifting. Before your eyes rise the majestic domes of grand mosques, their intricate carvings and towering minarets, pointing skyward as if reaching for the stars themselves. Under the light of the moon, the mosque's facade glows softly, revealing patterns so complex and mesmerically fluid, they seem to pulse with the rhythm of the universe itself. You pause to admire the craftsmanship, noting how the fusion of Turkic and Persian influences gives birth to a unique harmony, one that has captivated artisans and dreamers for centuries. This is no ordinary tale of bricks and mortar, but one where history lingers in each ornate tile and delicate geometric design. As you navigate these sacred spaces, consider the wonder of caravanserais, those ancient rest stops for weary travelers on the Silk Road. From afar, they emerge through the haze, promising shelter warmth and stories shared around flickering fires. Historians still debate whether these caravanserais were more than just trading posts. Were they early-day hotels, cultural melting pots, or perhaps something even more remarkable, a convergence of minds and ideas beneath the desert stars? Within these stone walls, Persian poets and scholars found their patronage, their verses and wisdom stretching across ages, blending seamlessly with the traditions and tunes of Turkic culture. This was a time when words were revered as much as warriors and scholars traveled alongside traders, disseminating knowledge as eagerly as silk or spices were bartered. The ambiance shifts slightly. A breeze rustles softly, like the turning pages of an ancient manuscript. You might imagine a scholar hunched over his work quill in hand, penning stanzas that would drift through time, still alive in this night air. Their patronage was as much a part of this architectural tapestry as the stones themselves, each poet leaving an indelible mark, an echo of their thoughts resonating amidst the bricks. Take, for instance, the beloved poet Rumi, whose work continues to gently shape hearts and minds the world over. Picture his words, delicate and profound, floating through the arches and courtyards, mingling with the laughter and debates of travelers who have crossed vast oceans of sand. The unusual detail you won't find in your average history book is this: somewhere in these lively exchanges, a push for innovation born of cultural intersection was sparked far more than simple bricks and verse could convey. Back in the present moment, travelers just like you would share tales of distant lands, emboldening friendships that transcended backgrounds while basking in the comfort of caravanserai warmth. It paints a cozy picture, doesn't it? Side by side dreamers, merchants and scholars all gathered within this cradle of civilization, pillows fluffed and worlds expanded. As you wander the corridors of this narrative, threads of shadows from history intertwine and embrace you. There is a soft pulse of time, aligning with the gentle breathing of those long past. It's an invitation to open your mind and slip seamlessly from the world you know to one vibrant with history's colors, to bask in the seamless blending of cultures and eras, living and breathing through every brick and ink-stained page. In this place, the past and present are entwined so fully you could almost reach out and touch them. You drift effortlessly into dreams of times when the realm between reality and imagination was a comforting blur, tempting you to believe you'd been part of this wondrous tapestry all along. The call to listen, to share, to travel with these tales continues, a lullaby of ages drawing you toward restful slumber with every whispered secret of the past. You walk through a grand hall filled with the echoes of a kingdom once mighty, a shadow of its former self. This is the Seljuk Empire, a sprawling domain once unified under the command of Malik Shah. But now, with his passing, you observe how the very fabric of this great empire begins to unravel. The air is tense with uncertainty. Perhaps you sense that histories still wonder how everything began to fall apart so swiftly. In this vast empire, unity was replaced by discord and struggle for power. You can almost feel the ambition and fear around you as regional atabegs, once loyal underlings, now see an opportunity to rise. Like stars in a sky without a moon, they try to shine in the newfound darkness. Each atabeg trying to carve out a little piece of this vast realm for themselves begins to assert their independence. As you move through these scattered territories, you stumble upon one surprising element: the curious resilience of the people. Despite the chaos above, they persist in their daily lives, trading, farming, and living as if nothing more monumental than the weather has changed. It's a reminder that life, much like the sea, continues its course regardless of the storm overhead. Meanwhile, the central authority, emblemized by the empty throne of the Sultan, finds its power ebbing like an unsure tide. Historians are still baffled by the suddenness of this decline. Was it only the loss of Malik Shah that led to the fragmentation, or were these seeds of division sown long before his death? The lack of a clear heir and the struggles his sons faced further fueled the dissent. You see these sons vying for what once was their father's fighting battles, both on the field and in courts filled with whispers. Walking through one such regal court, you're astounded by the sheer gamesmanship at play. Political alliances are as fragile as a spider's web, woven delicately, but always one misstep away from unraveling. Vassals and generals who had once pledged their undying loyalty now cast their allegiance like dice on a gaming table, looking for any dice that give them power and influence. As you wander onwards, you observe how these regional rulers, those atabegs, seize their moment. Some are benevolent, choosing to grow strong regions by fostering trade and protecting their people. Others opt for the might of their armies, to assert dominance over neighbors. Every choice they make feeds into the shifting landscape of the Seljuk territories, creating a rich tapestry of intrigue and maneuvering. Unexpectedly, you come across a scene that seems out of place amid the turmoil. A small garden blooming with flowers from every corner of the empire, tended to diligently despite the political chaos. It serves as a gentle reminder that beauty can spring even in times of discord. And just like the empire itself, this garden is a patchwork of influences, continuing the subtle weaving of cultures and ideas that defined the Seljuk reign. Remember, too, the power of stories and knowledge that thrive despite the challenges. The Seljuks, after all, were cultivators of learning, and the grand advances in architecture, science, and philosophy that flourished under their watch can't be completely stifled by the chaos left in Malik Shah's absence. You almost sense an irony in this, where power diffuses culture and thought can sometimes ignite anew. Here in this beautiful paradox, the empire's weakening central control contrasts with the vibrancy of local initiative and the resilience of its diverse people. Historians agree on one thing: the decline of a powerful central authority didn't spell the end of these lands. Instead, it offered a mosaic of regional autonomy where new histories began to write themselves. You watch as this page of history turns, wondering how such splintered stories might eventually weave together again. The wind whispers through the halls of ancient might and modern uncertainty as you slowly make your way forward, witnessing this epoch where every whispered secret, every warlord's gambit, and every ruler's dream converges into the rich, tumultuous tapestry of the Seljuks post-Malik Shah. And just like your journey, the stories of those who lived this time continue flowing seamlessly into the tales of those who will come after. The atmosphere at al-Mulk was thick with the scent of mystery and preparation as you wake up in this world where shadows hold as many secrets as the stars above. The fortress, nestled in the remote mountains of northern Persia, stands as a bastion of both wonder and fear. You slowly find yourself weaving through its corridors, where whispers echo like soft breezes. You're aware that outside these walls, the Sunni leadership stands vigilant, though perhaps not as invincible as assumed. Within the stone-clad stronghold, the Nizari Ismailis are gathering under the watchful eyes of Hassan-i-Sabah, a name that reverberates like a low hum through history. You can't help but feel the weight of purpose here, as his followers known to some as the assassins prepare for their missions. Their objective is clear, yet shrouded in the precision of the unseen: targeted assassinations aimed at destabilizing the Sunni leadership, who remain blissfully unaware of the impending peril. You notice that every detail counts in the meticulous dance of strategy and secrecy unfolding before you. The members are devoted, each movement deliberate, each instruction clear, as they render their service to a cause that challenges the mightiest rulers. News travels of a recent mission. An official unsuspectingly fell, leaving a gaping vulnerability in a structure thought fortress-like. It's a reminder of the fragility cloaked in a facade of strength. As the sun begins to dip behind mountain peaks, reflecting a golden hue through narrow windows, You're invited to the inner sanctums of al-Mulk. Here, strategy sessions resemble more a rhythmic flow of consciousness than a rigid meeting. An unusual image comes to mind, like pieces in a game of chess, but with lives bearing the stakes. It's whispered, however, that despite their fearsome reputation, these assassins often withheld, using brute force, preferring the subtleties of psychological warfare. Here and there, quiet conversations discuss the scholars' debates on whether these missions were born of pure ideology or practical necessity. You realize how history has painted these individuals in broad strokes, leaving much of their true narrative open-ended, a tapestry of speculation and scattered tales. A surprising detail catches your attention: the tales of a ritualized offering from the gardens within these fortress walls. A mix of botanical wonders used perhaps for more than mere ingestion. Scattered references hint at uses far beyond what one might expect from a garden. As you ponder this, the air grows cooler, a stark contrast to the warm glow of lanterns lining the pathways. These gardens, historians muse in their uncertain way, could have been as vital a part of the assassin's arsenal as any blade or plan. Having traversed the fortress, your mind wanders to how this tale fits into the larger narrative, as layers of history unfurl like complex origami. You recall the stories of the Seljuk Vizier, Nizam al-Mulk, whose sudden death at the hands of these skilled operatives shook the empire to its core. It said in soft whispers, carried by the winds of history, that this was less about the death itself, but more about the door. It opened a testament to the cracks in the seemingly unbreakable Sunni armory. You linger by the ramparts, the cool breeze stroking your cheeks gently as you drink in the landscape. Skies darken to a navy depth, stars beginning to peek out one by one, each seeming to whisper tales of their own. A soft voice in the universe's choir, reminding you that even the most intricate strategies rest upon a foundation of uncertainty. The stars, like the tales of al-Mulk, hold more stories than can ever be told, more truths than history can wholly capture. The soothing cadence of al-Mulk's night sways you tenderly like a lullaby, its rhythms and tales mingling seamlessly with the soft language of the past. You imagine those long ago nights when the air was equally still, punctuated by the subtle murmur of planning, each moment steeped in the rich mystery of consequence and ambition. As these thoughts enfold your mind, you feel yourself drift softly toward dreams, whispers of history unwinding around you. You carry forward the calming energy of the past, a gentle reassurance as you sink into rest, just as countless others must have done beneath the same stars. With a final sigh, the world of al-Mulk gently fades from view, enfolding you in tranquil slumber. You find yourself wandering through the sprawling lands of the once great Seljuk Empire. Picture vast, arid landscapes beneath an endless starry sky, a place where history whispers through the whispers of the desert winds. Your footsteps echo in the sands, in a world where mighty empires have risen and fallen, and you are privy to one such turning of tides. The Seljuk Turks, who once commanded vast territories stretching from the edges of the Byzantine Empire to the depths of Persia, are now facing an inevitable shift. The unity that once held their empire together is fraying at its edges like an ancient tapestry worn by time. You witness the splitting of power, the growing independence of local rulers. These are not the coordinated columns of warriors you might imagine, but rather a scattered gathering of regional lords beginning to fancy themselves as kings in their own right. You probably won't survive this without a rightful warning. This story is one of change, the kind that brings about the very end of a chapter in history. You are not alone as you walk through this tale. Others have wandered through as well, tracing the outlines of history in the dust. Historians still debate whether this fragmentation was inevitable, a collapse from within, or hastened by pressures from without. You catch a glimpse of one such pivotal moment, a disagreement over succession or perhaps a mismanaged allegiance. And it's clear how easily the thread of centralized power can unravel. And so, as you peer closer into the intricacies of this fragmenting empire, you notice how local leaders, once vassals in a sprawling realm, begin to seize this opportunity. They carve out domains of power, small yet significant chapters in the saga of the Seljuks. These rulers start to etch their own names into the annals of history, not as mere pawns, but as bold players on a vast political chessboard. You stride through a bustling market where merchants haggle over spices and silks, unaware or perhaps uninterested in the greater drama's unfolding. But even here, the hints of shifting power trickle down, affecting trade routes and local economies in subtle ways. It's a place where stories intermingle, just like the spices and languages stories of that remarkable time when power decentralized and new paths were forged. In this tapestry of histories, one unusual twist catches your eye. Somewhere amidst the chaos of power struggles, an unexpected peace blooms, however briefly, as different factions distracted by their quest for dominance overlook a small town. This oversight allows an oasis of calm, where life goes on under serene skies, seemingly oblivious to the machinations of those in power. Despite the sprawling fragmentation, life flows on, indifferent to the ambitions of men. And in the cool evening breeze, with the stars casting their eternal gaze, you sense a continuum. The world evolves, and you are part of its witness. As you stand in the midst of these upheavals, you realize that history, much like the sands beneath your feet, is always shifting, changing shape with each gust of wind. With the subtle dig of light sarcasm, you realize that while the grandiose plans of emperors and rulers failed to stand the test of time, the enduring spirit of human resilience cannot be easily quashed. You watch as the last vestiges of Seljuk centralized authority flicker and fade like a candle in the sweeping wind of change, leaving behind a story to be pondered, retold and debated for ages to come. And as you come to the end of this stroll through history, allow yourself a moment to reflect on what you've seen. The unexpected autonomy gained from fragmentation allowed smaller tales to emerge, ones that might have been otherwise overshadowed. Now take one last breath of this historical breeze and let the story settle softly in your memory, like the glow after sunset, a time of rest and understanding. In the quiet, moonlit corridors of a grand palace, you find yourself walking softly past towering stone walls, their surfaces touched by time and tales from the past. The halls echo with whispered stories, tales of intrigue and power that were once hushed or unspoken. You feel an odd tingle of excitement mixed with a sense of antiquity, as if each step is taking you further back in time, unraveling secrets of noble women who played unseen hands in shaping the world around them. As you reach the heart of the palace, you come across an opulent hall. Its vaulted ceiling is a marvel of beautiful complexity, with arches entwined like the fingers of a gentle hand weaving a tapestry of dreams. The air is thick with the aroma of history, a blend of rusted iron aged wood, and perhaps a faint whiff of rosewater. Here, noble women left their marks, not just on court politics, but on the very stones of grandeur that lie around you. In many kingdoms, you've heard women of nobility took up the mantle of patrons, quietly transmuting their wealth into lasting legacies of stone and mortar. These architectural endeavors were more than mere displays of wealth. They were declarations of art and influence whispering through decades of the distinguished taste and the silent power of these illustrious ladies. Imagine a world where a lady adorned with jewels could point to a sprawling garden or a towering cathedral and say, "That is my story written in structure." One character whose true form seems to swirl with mystery is a duchess from a long-forgotten era. Her history isn't written on pages, but etched into architraves, embedded into pale marble by craftsmen's hands. Her passion for architecture was more than a hobby. It was an affair of prestige and diplomacy. Thus, she directed the building of chapels and terraces that bear her signature grace. Though curiously, her name often escapes even the keenest scholars of history. Yet her influence didn't simply cease at bricks and arches. It flowed into court politics, a complex dance where the steps were expectation and surprise. Through softly spoken words at banquets and the raised eyebrows of strategy, she maneuvered alliances like a grandmaster, each move concealed beneath the guise of hospitality. Historians still debate whether her involvement was born of ambition or necessity, but her impact is unquestionable. Her life unfolded in the subtle arts of persuasion and quiet diplomacy, crafting a legacy as enduring as the limestone she loved. Could you imagine walking through one of these grand halls, feeling the weight of an empire on your shoulders, knowing your decisions change, destinies daily? There's an air of awe in realizing these spaces filled with light, filtered through stained glass, were their boardrooms, where whispered words carried the power of empires. These ladies' capabilities often straddled domesticity and diplomacy, a dichotomy where tea parties could easily lead to territories gained or relievances smoothed. There's a delightful irony, too, in imagining a tower that rises grandly over the city, a symbol of everlasting strength, owes its existence to the whims or wishes of a woman who might have otherwise been depicted in soft hues by the fireside. These structures served as quiet testaments to their builders' dual mastery of aesthetics and influence of creating both spaces of homage and formidable seats in the chess game of politics. However, life in this jeweled world wasn't all grandeur and influence. For every grand ball and soiree, there were quieter moments, a whispered confidence shared in the recess of a shadowed alcove, or a secret pact sealed with shared glances over goblets of fine wine. Imagine yourself perhaps playing a part, controlling the ebb and flow of courtly tides with the same precision with which they crafted their estates. It's a serene, strange beauty to lie under the stars and think of these majestic women, sleeping giants in the histories they helped build. What unrecorded stories did their dreams tell? Did they gaze through mullioned windows and see beyond tomorrow, or ponder over the past's prisoner when faced with art and architecture? The tales of noble women are not just footnotes in a dusty book, but vivid threads interwoven in the vibrant tapestry of history. Close your eyes to dream of their world, where politics met passion and beauty, laid the foundation for everlasting stories written in the gentle flow of time. Amidst the echoes of the past, you find yourself drawn into a world where art, culture, and history intertwine like the delicate brush strokes of a Persian miniature painting. As though stepping into an ancient manuscript, the vibrant colors and intricate designs of the Seljuk era unfold before you. Here time dances between pages, revealing the secrets held within each illustration. You're no stranger to the Seljuks' rich legacy, having wandered through their architectural marvels, just like the majestic arches and domes that rose in Isfahan. But tonight, your journey is not about stone and mortar. It's about the living art that adorned the pages of illuminated manuscripts. The Seljuk Empire in its zenith stood as a confluence of Turkic Persian and Islamic influences, each thread woven with meticulous care into the tapestry of history. In a peaceful corner of a library, forgotten by time, you imagine yourself as an artist's apprentice, surrounded by the murmur of whispered stories and the scent of ink and parchment. Under the gentle glow of an oil lamp, you observe your master craft, magnificent depictions in the scriptorium, where Turkic warriors, Persian poets, and Islamic scholars coexist harmoniously. One canonical historical fact stands out: the Seljuks, in addition to being formidable warriors, were patrons of the arts and architecture. Their support breathed life into new artistic expressions, especially seen in the decorated manuscripts that graced their courts, each page a portal to another world. Your curiosity piqued, you turn the page to find a delicate painting of a garden resplendent with mythical creatures and flowering plants. It's said that the Seljuks were captivated by tales of Siavash and Bahram heroes, whose stories were immortalized in vivid color by skillful artists. Interestingly, this particular scene depicts a Persian landscape, where legends say that flowers bloom by the mere touch of a hero's hand. Historians still debate whether these intricate depictions were based on real gardens of the time or pure flights of fancy, but you are captivated regardless, feeling the lure of each petal in the moonlit scenery. Then you notice an unusual detail. Standing out from the Persian flora is a turquoise blue hoofed animal painted with such meticulous precision you can almost hear its gentle breath over the rustle of the page. This creature, a chimeric blend, reminiscent of Turkic shamanic symbols, is curiously enigmatic, a reminder of the Seljuks' nomadic origins and their spiritual ties to the vast steppe. The mystery of how such a fantastical being found its way into a Persian manuscript is a testament to the cross-cultural pollination that thrived under the Seljuks' reign. As you walk through the pages, you come upon a splendidly illustrated manuscript of the Quran, its intricate arabesque designs intertwining like the infinite knots of your imagination. Each stroke, deliberate and painstakingly painted, serves as a spiritual meditation, reflecting the devotion and skill of the artists who worked under the watchful eyes of the learned and the devout. The visual elegance is enhanced by a technique historians believe was inspired by the geometric harmony seen in Islamic architecture, an artistic expression of the divine order of the cosmos itself. You pause to note a serene scene of a Persian miniature, showing a scholar at their work surrounded by ink pots and parchment. A closer look reveals a peculiar detail nestled by the scholar's feet, a small feline companion, the ancient library cat. Is this the same lineage of cats who centuries later would sit upon the manuscripts of today, impervious to the weight of history they obscure? It's an amusing notion that connects you with the timeless romance between cats and bookish souls. In this seamless fusion of diverse styles, the Seljuk art of illustrated manuscripts is a symphony of hues and forms, a narrative painted not only in color, but also in culture. It's here amidst ornamental borders and playful legends. You wonder about the hands that crafted such beauty and the dreams they poured into their work. Before you leave this timeless library, you reflect on the role these manuscripts played in preserving and sharing knowledge. They were more than art. They were the bearers of stories, guardians of wisdom, and ambassadors of the Seljuks' multicultural society. There is something profoundly comforting about this realization, as though you've shared a moment with every person past and present who has ever dared to dream in ink. With this thought, let the quiet stories of Seljuk art and its evolution with Persian influences cradle you to a place of rest, like the softest lullaby only history could compose. In the soft glow of a candlelit room, you find yourself on a journey through time, back to an age when the world was woven with the rich tapestry of minds that dared to question the stars. Tonight, your thoughts meander to the golden era of intellectual awakening, where figures such as al-Ghazali and Omar Khayyam illuminated the path between heaven and earth with their profound insights and insatiable curiosity. You can almost hear the whispers of the past. It's as though the dusty pages from ancient manuscripts flutter softly, beckoning you closer. The scent of aged parchment lingers in the air, mingling with the warm, spicy aroma of a distant marketplace, bustling with ideas rather than wares. You settle in feeling both an eerie thrill and a serene comfort, wondering how people like al-Ghazali, with his astute theological insights, wrangled meaning from a universe so vast and mysterious. Here, logic wasn't just about the mind, but the heart, seeking to balance both in an ever-evolving dance. Al-Ghazali, remember, is often celebrated for his ability to disentangle the tangled threads of faith and reason, There's a twinkle in the twilight of your mind as you consider his relentless pursuit to understand the nature of the divine. Historians still debate whether his philosophical works were meant to reconcile or debate with the philosophers of his time, but his legacy endures an invitation to question, yet believe, to doubt, yet understand. As you ponder this, the backdrop subtly shifts, and you find yourself standing beneath an impossibly vast nighttime sky, dotted with countless stars. Omar Khayyam steps up beside you like a long-lost friend with secrets to share. Unlike al-Ghazali, Khayyam's gaze is firmly upon those twinkling celestial bodies, as if the universe sang to him in mathematical harmonies. You can't help but chuckle at the idea that he saw numbers in every twinkle, every soft light in the expansive firmament. Khayyam's contributions to mathematics were not merely equations. They were invitations to see the world through a kaleidoscope of possibilities. Imagine with a smile how he must have taken solace in numbers, perhaps mumbling under his breath as he corrected the Persian calendar, giving order to chaos. Some argue whether his love for the stars or his appreciation of the immediacy of life was his true calling. Here is the poetic uncertainty. Khayyam, the great astronomer and mathematician, was also a celebrated poet whose verses urged you to seize the day. Did he gaze upon the stars, yet tell you to drink wine while you could? Or was it the other way around? The stars weren't just balls of gas, millions of light years away. They were guides for life on Earth, just like the goat fat trick you heard about earlier. Now a soft nod in the greater scheme of the cosmos. And so, as the narrative threads of theology, logic, mathematics, and wonder weave intricately around you, you drift. The ancient scholars whose voices tell stories across generations remind you not only of the grandeur of the universe, but of the importance of balance of the mind and the cosmos of inquiry and belief. They whisper even now through history's pages, through celestial navigation, through the rhythm of verses about cups filled with wine. As your eyes grow heavy, you settle deeper into the comfort of knowing that every question is a chance to explore, every doubt a thread to follow. Drift as each thought gently folds into the next, like the turning pages of a well-loved book. The candlelight flickers, casting long shadows that promise tomorrow will bring yet new stories under these star-sprinkled skies. You find yourself in the heart of Anatolia, surrounded by the whispering winds that carry tales of a time when the lands danced to the blend of Byzantine finesse and Persian grandeur. It's a place where the hills echo with age-old stories, and tonight you wander through these tales, piecing together the vibrant tapestry woven by the Seljuk offshoot that formed the Sultanate of Rum. The Sultanate of Rum emerges against the backdrop of the 11th century, a serene oasis of culture and architecture. You can almost hear the soft clamor of markets intertwined with the distant melodies of musicians strumming their hearts out amidst this cultural crossroad. The sultans, with their intricate Persian lineage, fostered an empire where traditions and artistry from distant lands embraced one another. Imagine you're walking through the bustling streets of Konya, the epicenter of the Seljuk Sultanate and its cultural heartbeat. The air is thick with the scent of spices, a tantalizing mixture that makes your senses dance. The sight of turquoise-tiled minarets pierces the sky, their reflections gliding over the city like gentle guardians from a bygone era. In a twist of architectural genius, imagine leaning close enough to a wall of one such structure to discover stone carvings that exhibit an exceptional synthesis of Islamic and Christian traditions. These buildings set against the Anatolian sun weave together a past where towers rub shoulders with minarets, embracing the murmur of Byzantine whispers. Isn't it curious how buildings can be monuments to coexistence? As you stroll further, you encounter a small gathering, their garments vibrant with patterns reminiscent of Persian textiles, whispering secrets of silk roads traversed and treasures exchanged. In their midst, a storyteller captivates with tales of lustrous gardens and grand palaces where Persian poetry once held sway under the shade of cypress trees. You learn of Kaikubad Yai, that most illustrious of sultans, who reigned during a golden age, his court a bastion of scholars, poets, and artists. They say his ear was always attuned to tales of wonder and fortune, his hand constantly reimagining the dance of cultures within his kingdom. Yet historians remain divided over whether it was his vision or perhaps a more fortuitous alignment of the stars that guided such prosperity. Even the most definitive chronicles, you realize, leave room for mystery. Wandering toward the countryside, you pass artisans delicately crafting pottery, their hands moving with the grace of time travelers, connecting the modern world to antiquity. And there, tucked away, are traces of innovation that might surprise you, a hint of an alabaster lamp, a Byzantine-inspired innovation that scholars debate over with eager curiosity. As dusk descends, painting the world in soft amber hues, your path winds toward a hill overlooking all of Anatolia. Faced with the horizon that stretches into a sea of history, you feel the gentle tug of a legacy still lingering in every brook and breath. It's in this twilight that you sense the harmonious blend that made the Sultanate of Rum a melting pot of influences, a narrative where enduring whispers from Byzantium brush lightly against the elaborate prose of Persian heritage. For a moment, amid the gentle rustling leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures, you consider the historians who pored over maps and manuscripts, attempting tirelessly to untangle the timeless embrace that connected two great civilizations. Was it the poets or the politicians who truly mastered the art of diplomatic fusion? As you draw a deep breath, enveloped by the cool embrace of nightfall, you're filled with a sense of wonderment. The world becomes quiet, allowing the stories to settle like grains of sand at the bottom of an hourglass, a sacred silence soothing and soft, arranging time into its rightful place. Tomorrow awaits another journey, another piece in this grand puzzle of human history. But for now, as the stars flicker awake one by one, relinquish your curious thoughts to the night's soothing lull and let the gentle cadence of ancient echoes drift you into a peaceful rest. The story continues. As you wander through the historical pages, you find yourself amidst the swirling sands of the Levant, where the young Seljuk princes stir restlessly in their tents. The air is thick with anticipation, every breeze carrying the whispers of battles, fought and to come. In this intricate landscape, you are surrounded by warriors donning armor that catches the moonlight, their determination almost tangible. You stand on the edge of these timeless lands, feeling the weight of countless history upon your shoulders. Among the flickering torchlight, the Seljuk princes gather voices animated, discussing strategies against the Crusaders who march ever closer. Their courage is palpable as they prepare to defend their realms, yet there's an undeniable fragmentation. You sense it in the way their words at times falter, echoes of unity struggling to find coherence in the air. A strange thought occurs. A camel, that unexpected friend tethered nearby, seems to nod knowingly, as if understanding the complexities of human conflict. In this moment, you realize you probably won't survive this perilous journey of alliances and betrayals without keen wits and a bit of luck, much like those gathered here centuries ago. It's that cheeky reminder of your own mortality, right among the mighty. You notice the bout of laughter that briefly lightens the mood, led ironically by a prince rumored to have a ridiculously excessive love for sugared dates. It's a surprising bit of levity amid the tension, reminding you that these historical figures were as varied and human as anyone in the present. Historians still debate whether the unyielding spirit of these young princes truly foresaw the kind of unity that would eventually rise from their scattered efforts. Their methods were sometimes unconventional, their resolve fierce, but at times chaotic, much like the scattered stars above. Around the council, plans are laid, testaments to bravery fraught with risk and uncertainty. Yet through it, there's a sense of camaraderie, an unspoken bond despite the fragmentations. One prince, standing taller than the others, proposes a night raid whispered about in later tales with varying degrees of success. His armor catches the light, and his presence commands attention. There's caution mixed with a spark of audacious hope in the way he proposes to face the formidable Crusader forces. This move could be either brilliantly strategic or disastrously foolhardy, but that's a truth to be discovered only by stepping into the unknown. The Levant, with its sprawling landscapes and tumultuous history, seems to breathe as one with these princes, absorbing their battles and hopes into its very soil. It's fascinating, a living tapestry where the past and present entwine in a delicate dance. As you listen, it feels as if you too are part of this grand story, walking alongside them through moonlit gatherings and sun-baked confrontations. Amid the preparations, a hushed tale makes its rounds. A seraglio of rare birds was said to travel with the Crusaders, delighting their commanders. Whether this is truth or myth remains uncertain, but it adds an odd touch of whimsy to the stern task at hand, reminding you of how legends grow alongside reality. As the night deepens, the sands grow cool beneath your feet, the stars a steady presence above. The scene before you blurs slightly, and though your mind remains tethered to this historical moment, there's a gentle pull towards rest. You sense the dawn of eventual unity that's poised somewhere beyond this tumultuous present, waiting like the whiff of fresh jasmines carried by the breeze unnoticed, yet inevitable. A calm descends, a serene accompaniment to the martial drums you heard earlier, and you feel your own edges soften as if the long march of time whispers, it's all part of a greater mosaic. And so you drift the sands of the Levant, stretching endlessly, a silent witness to both fragmentation and the seeds of future togetherness that these courageous, if divided souls unknowingly plant. But just as the Seljuk Empire basked in its opulent glory, a new and ominous pressure arose from the east like a cold wind that rattles the doors of a warm house in the dead of night. You find yourself drifting, carried on a seamless journey through the heart of this once mighty empire, as if you're floating above ancient cities and watching time unfold beneath you like a grand tapestry, worn thin and frayed at the edges by history's callous hand. It's during one such night where the empire's foundations tremble under the encroaching threat of the Khwarezmian Empire. You feel the unease of the Seljuk court, with worried officials whispering in dimly lit chambers, their voices like the rustling of old pages. Yet there's an unexpected calmness in one corner, where a scribe quietly takes notes. His quill, dipped in ink, scratches upon the parchment with a hypnotic insistence, detailing each phase of the growing tension. Under the rule of Sultan Ahmad Sanjar, the Seljuks had already endured endless power struggles and invasions. But now, as you linger near the ancient relics lining the palace walls, you sense the palpable shift in power. The Khwarezmians, fierce and determined, were exploiting the Seljuks' internal weaknesses, much like water will find cracks in the stone to seep through. Historians still debate whether the Seljuk defeat was truly inevitable, or if different choices might have charted a new course. Yet as you look upon the fragmented empire in this moment, it's clear that their struggles were not simply of war, but of identity, a tug of war between tradition and the shifting sands of power that swept across their once certain world. As you drift over the lands, you witness the tension twisted further by the distant looming shadow of the Mongols. Their name alone sent shivers through the bravest hearts of the Seljuk people, almost as chilling as when you realize the last piece of chocolate cake has vanished. You might find it hard to picture now, but the Seljuks had been a dominant force center of commerce and a beacon of culture. Yet here, under the pressure of the Khwarezmians, that same empire teeters on the brink of collapsing like an ancient colossus, swaying with each political blow. Now you find yourself in the vast open fields where cities once stood. Imagine the campfires, fluttering like small stars, scattered upon the earth, a scene that remains etched in your mind long after they're smothered by encroaching dust. It's the weary soldiers, the anxious mothers, the hopeful dreamers, all part of this grand narrative, unaware of the storyteller weaving their fates in a dizzying dance of time and destiny. A curious fact emerges in your thoughts. The Khwarezmian Empire was not just any rival, but one forged from the same embers that gave rise to the Seljuks. Both born from the steppes, yet here they stood at odds, much like siblings, quarreling over heirlooms left by their ancestors. This parallel only adds a layer of complexity to the unfolding drama, a saga of kin turned rival, vying for supremacy over a crumbling stage. A soft breeze whispers around you, comforting, yet carrying with it the murmur of an era ending. You may wonder what tales these winds have gathered, the forgotten conversations of generals, and the secret reflections of the sultans that roam like ghosts, waiting for a quiet moment to be heard. The Seljuk decline deepens as the Mongols start casting their formidable gaze toward the horizon. The Mongol threat, like a storm cloud brewing in an impossibly blue sky, poses unimaginable power. Rumors swirl tales of their unyielding cavalry, as if born from the very earth, thunderous and relentless in their approach. Still, you might be tempted to question, how did it all slip away? Opportunity and misrule interwoven in this tapestry, the intricacies of which were like secrets whispered between allies turned foes. As iron tracks collide in clamor, you ponder which decisions marked the path less favorable. Those roads traversed in haste or perhaps indecision. Just as the Khwarezmians encroach upon their holdings, the Mongols prepare, waiting patiently at the periphery, a predator biding its time. It's here, under the weighted sigh of veiled inevitability, that you see the Seljuk realm for what it was, and what it is becoming, a story of progression, fading to memory in the soft light of the moon. Throughout this journey, as history unfolds around you, consider the echoes of every step that led here. Each decision merely tremors, at first now culminate in an inevitable quake that reshapes the landscape forever. As the sands of time slip through fingers, so desperately grasping, you stay a while suspended in this moment at the twilight of an era. The ground below holds stories, untold reasonings, unheard, and lessons, unheeded patterns that speak most clearly in the silence that follows. Now, as the calm settles around you, imagine the eternal sky above, the same one under which empires rise and fall. You look upon it, curiosity flickering like those distant campfires. And there, perhaps, you find a piece of peace, a small comfort in knowing that time, like the stars, is ever constant, a gentle continuity, threading into the dreams which cradle history. You feel the echoes of that age recede, just as the cool night beckons you softly, urging that, like histories etched in moonlit stone, you too may find rest under the unchanging sky tonight. As the smoky haze of twilight settles gently over the land, you wander through a landscape that sings with a history as rich and textured as the tapestry woven by the hands of time itself. The air is filled with the scent of grass and the whisper of ancient winds as you step through the corridors of an age long past one, shaped by warriors of the steppes and scholars of great repute. The Seljuk Empire stands before you not as mere monuments or forgotten ruins, but as a thriving symphony of life, culture, and governance that speaks volumes in quiet tones. Here in this realm that once rippled across the fertile lands of Iran and beyond, you find yourself amidst a society transformed under the rule of the Seljuks, who reigned from the 11th to 14th centuries. The Seljuks of Turkic origin brought with them not just the arts of cavalry and conquest, but also the subtle sway of Persian influence. Under their governance, Persian culture found a new vibrancy and cadence preserved and colored through a Turkic lens. With each step, you can feel the melding of these two grand traditions, like the harmonious chords of a song that sings to both the ear and the soul. Despite their Turkic roots, the Seljuks became ardent patrons of the Persian language and arts. As you listen closely to the murmur of poets and philosophers echoing through the air, you find that Persian not only remained the language of the court, it flourished. The stories of Ferdowsi, the verses of Saadi, and the wisdom of Avicenna thrived under Seljuk patronage, as if a careful gardener tended to a flourishing garden, making sure that each bloom could be witnessed in its full glory. A surprising fact catches your attention like a bright, shimmering star in the night sky. Did you know that under the Seljuk reign, the city of Nishapur became a beacon of learning, rivaling the greatest centers of knowledge? It's easy to lose yourself amidst the chatter of scholars and students diligently exchanging ideas and theories at this crossroads of civilization. Yet historians still debate whether Nishapur's preeminence as an intellectual hub was solely due to Seljuk governance, or if it was an inevitable result of its location and the confluence of silk roads passing through. The Seljuks, with their newfound appreciation for Persian culture, left a profound legacy on future Iranian dynasties. It's almost like peering through a kaleidoscope, each turn of history revealing a new pattern, yet maintaining its core. The governance styles, architectural styles, and cultural priorities infused with Seljuk influence laid groundwork that would guide and mold Iranian dynasties like the Safavids and Qajars for centuries to come. As your footsteps guide you through the courtyards and palaces, the lush gardens and minarets, you can't help but smile at the thought of how the Seljuks managed an empire that stretched across such diverse lands. They decentralized power, granting local rulers a degree of autonomy, while ensuring loyalty through a network of personal alliances and vassal states. But not everything about their administration is clear, as remarkably, the exact nature of Seljuk administration is still the subject of much scholarly discussion, crafted through pieces of records, much like piecing together a grand puzzle, whose final picture remains tantalizingly out of reach. And as you wander further through these lands of lore, let your heart be reassured by the sense of continuance. The Seljuks' unique fusion of Persian culture through a Turkic administrative style is no distant echo, but a living legacy that has touched people and places even up to today. The resilience of culture, its adaptability and evolution in the face of foreign influence, is a gentle reminder, like the stars that have always shone upon these lands, that identity is both as enduring as stone and yet as malleable as clay. Now as the narrative of the Seljuks gently fades, like the soft melody of a lullaby, winding down to its final bars, feel how the tones of history wane delicately into restful peace. The stories, the vibrant images of bustling cities, scholarly gatherings, and 1,000-minaret skyline become serene visions, lingering warmly in your mind. Picture how the empire rests calmly under the night sky, each star a silent guardian safeguarding the tales woven through its vast territories. Your journey through this time has been one of discovery and enchantment, wrapped in the balmy embrace of heritage. Here in the solace of night, let go of the day's cares. Feel how the breeze carries the essence of bygone days, and utilize its whispers as your guide to a gentle, undisturbed slumber. Rest in the assurance that these stories bloom eternally, just as secure as the soft rhythms of your own breath, a symphony of quiet confidence, leading you gently into the world of dreams. You drift into a world where dreams blend with the echoes of epochs past. You find yourself standing amidst the bustling bazaars and grand halls of an ancient city. The air is thick with the aroma of exotic spices and the faint murmur of distant conversations. You're in the heart of the Seljuk Empire, a place where cultures collide and new identities are forged. The Seljuks, a Turco-Persian dynasty, have created an era brimming with innovation and transformation. As you wander through the city, the architectural marvels catch your eye. Intricate designs carved into ribbed domes and towering minarets loom overhead, representing a harmonious blend of Persian aesthetics and Islamic functionality. You feel a sense of awe, knowing these were the hands of craftsmen who dared to mix tradition with newfound ambition. It's said that the Seljuks were masters of this. They embraced Persian culture deeply, even as their Turkic heritage whispered from the alleyways. The streets are alive with the sounds of merchants and scholars. You become part of a crowd, gathering around a learned man, his robes fluttering as he gestures animatedly. He speaks of Nizam al-Mulk, the great vizier, whose innovations in governance became the backbone of the empire. Imagine, if you will, he says with a twinkle in his eye, a bureaucracy that holds firm against the tides of time, much like the tree that bends but does not break. Indeed, Nizam al-Mulk's siyasatnama offered lessons in administration that would influence empires far into the future. You wander further, and your feet lead you to a garden where a group of poets recline beneath the shade of cypress trees. Their verses float through the air, weaving tales of love, war, and divine contemplation. The Seljuks, you learn, were patrons of the arts. They fostered a cultural renaissance where poets, like Omar Khayyam, sang of the stars and the mysteries they hold. This fusion of Persian literary tradition with the Seljuk appetite for exploration engenders a new cultural fabric, rich with tales, philosophies, and unexpectedly profound quirks. Historians still debate whether this meld of Turkic valor with Persian sophistication was as seamless as it seems. Some argue there were tensions beneath the gilded surface, yet all agree on the profound impact the Seljuks had on both Islamic and Persian traditions. You muse over this as you glide through the scene, much like a silk thread weaving through the loom of history. As the day wanes, you reach the Grand Mosque, a place of worship and learning. It stands as a testament to the Seljuks' dedication to the spiritual and the scholarly. Scholars and imams engage in discussions inside their voices, a gentle harmony that complements the setting sun's last embrace. You listen to a conversation about al-Ghazali, the proof of Islam, whose philosophical inquiries bridged gaps between faith and reason. His work, you realize, echoes down the ages, influencing thinkers across lands and beliefs. In the twilight, you find solace in the rhythmic call to prayer that signals the day's end. It serves as a lullaby soothing the pulse of the empire and its people. As you settle into your space, among the stone benches of the courtyard, you ponder the enduring nature of identity and the intricate dance of cultures that defined the Seljuk realm. This was a time when who you were could change as easily as the shifting winds across the steppes, and yet that identity could also root itself as deeply as those ancient cypress trees. The Seljuk legacy persists, you think, in the very foundation of Persian Islamic identity. It's a testament to endurance and adaptability, much like the empire's own history, an elaborate tapestry of breakthroughs and mysteries united under the vast blue sky. You feel the gentle breeze start to carry the scents of the night, blossoms around you, a hint of jasmine mingling with the distant chants from the mosque. As you let the peaceful ambiance envelop you, the world becomes softer, your mind a tranquil sea of reflection and wonder. The city sleeps, but its stories echo through the night, ready to slip into dreams as you drift among the quiet rustlings of time itself. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Share your location and local time in the comments below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Beneath the ornate Seljuk domes, time seems to slow down, allowing you to immerse yourself fully in this serene environment. You close your eyes for just a moment, and in doing so, you begin to hear the faint echo of artisans chiseling the stones long ago, as if the walls themselves are whispering their secrets to you. It's remarkable to ponder how these grand structures were erected using tools and techniques that now seem so simple compared to modern technology. Yet they stand as a testament to the Seljuks' ingenuity and dedication to beauty and functionality. The intricacy of the calligraphy enveloping the walls here speaks more than mere words. Each letter, each curve and flourish is a dance frozen in time. You muse about the calligraphers, their hands steady with practice and purpose, bringing to life sacred texts and poetic verses that have transcended the centuries. Interestingly, historians still debate whether these artisans meant to convey hidden messages through the complex intertwining of letters and motifs, or if the beauty was purely aesthetic. As you wander through the garden that accompanies these domes, you can almost see the ghostly outlines of scholars discussing philosophy amid the sweet scent of roses and the gentle buzzing of bees collecting nectar. Persian gardens were designed to be earthly interpretations of paradise, encouraging contemplation and a sense of tranquility. You marvel at how these spaces were conceived not only as places of beauty, but as reflections of an ideal balance between nature and man-made perfection. Your footsteps lead you to a shaded pavilion where patterned tiles create an ever-shifting mosaic of light and shadow. The colors here are vibrant yet soothing. Blues, greens, and golds combine in a symphony that echoes the rhythms of ancient poetry. It is said that the designs often reflected the cosmic order, a practice intended to invite harmony and introspection. Surprising, isn't it, how mathematics and art were intertwined centuries before modern notions of abstract art. Above you, the dome itself resembles a night sky, scattered with stars, each pattern a testament to the Seljuks' sophisticated understanding of geometry and aesthetics. It's a marvel to think of the architects who could envision such grandeur without the digital aids of today. They relied on their keen sense of observation and mathematic skills, passed down through generations, enhanced by each artist's unique touch. The air is balmy and fragrant, carrying with it the stories and legacy of a people who thrived and inspired during their time. They left behind a tapestry of influence seen in poetry, architecture, and an approach to beauty that continues to resonate. As you walk, take a moment to rest beneath a tree whose roots are as networked as the stories told within these walls. The Seljuk era, often characterized by its embrace of Persian art and culture, serves as a powerful reminder of how cultural synthesis can lead to breathtaking innovations. This was a time when different cultures intersected, much like the intertwining of calligraphy, adorning the doors and archways. Here in the present, we are but stewards of these stories, tasked with listening, preserving, and sharing them. A playful breeze lifts a few petals off the path, swirling them around you in a delicate dance. There is a particular kind of peace here, one that allows the mind to wander freely. Maybe it's the careful layout of the garden, designed to be inviting and contemplative, or perhaps it's the history itself, suffused into every corner. You're enchanted by the way nature and architecture coexist. Water flows gently through a series of carved channels, providing a quiet, consistent soundtrack to your reflections. Such thoughtful design elements remind you that even in the past, people strive to create spaces that calm the soul and inspire the mind. As the shadows grow longer and the air cooler, you find yourself lingering beneath the domes, once more entranced by the fading light playing across intricate stonework. The legacy left behind by these artisans is not just in their creations, but in the inspiration they continue to spark. And so your journey through the whispers of Persian art and memory draws to a close. With one last glance at the Seljuk dome standing proudly beneath the vast sky, you let the tranquility of this place envelop you. As the story gently fades, you find comfort in the presence of history, knowing that long after you've gone, these stories will remain waiting for the next curious soul to listen. Sleep comes easily now, like a soft breeze through the leaves. You find yourself more relaxed than when you began, having traveled a path intertwined with the wonders of ancient artistry and innovation. They assure you that even in the hustle and bustle of life, there is always a place of calm and beauty to return to a thought as comforting as a lullaby. The Seljuks' legacy, whispered through the art and serenity around you, cradles you gently as the world turns quiet and still, and the night envelops you in a restful embrace.